Hello everybody, hello replay viewers and viewers on YouTube. Good to see you here. This is going to be Lil Explorers on April 24th and our theme today is Earth Day because the 22nd was Earth Day on Wednesday, so we did Earth Day themed for Nighttime Tales, and we're doing it again this day. So we've got a fun experiment and a couple fun books to read. Pippin's down here with me on the floor. I'll show you. Oh, she ran away. I don't know if she's happy to be in here this morning, but we'll see. We'll see what she does. Hello Rebecca and kids. How are you guys? Hi Ariella and Easton. Sorry for the weird tinge today. The light coming in the window is green from my curtains, and I've put up this poster board to try and block some of the light. It's got paint all over it because it's so bright this morning, which is awesome. I'm not complaining, but it just makes the light in here kind of weird. It looks green tinged behind me, but we'll deal with it. So I'll just wait a couple minutes and see if anyone else wants to join us here live, and then we'll get started. I think I will let Pippin out. She's pacing around. There we go. Pippin is free in our house now. She didn't want to be here today, so that's fine. I'm excited to be here. I hope you guys are too. Maybe we'll get started with our hello song. Let me know who's watching and let me know your names. In our hello song, we do Tiddly Tiddly Bumblebee for this program, and then you get a chance to shout out your name. So even though I can't hear your name, it'd be awesome if you can shout it out at home, and both you and if you're with your sibling or your parent, everybody shout out their name at the same time. Okay, here we go. Get your clapping hands ready, and it goes, Tiddly Tiddly Bumblebee, won't you say your name for me? Hi, I'm Heather, and that's a wonderful name. And then we'll do you, so you guys shout out your name this time. Tiddly Tiddly Bumblebee, won't you say your name for me? Everybody shout. Good job. And that's a wonderful name. Okay, we're gonna get started here with our very first book, and I think we'll read this one first. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I just need to make sure I'm pulled up on the computer here. There we go. So I'll flip it around, and that way the text isn't backwards. There, I think that's okay. All right, so the book today, there we go. The book that we're gonna read first is called Looking Closely Around the Pond. Oh, interesting. I've got closed captions on my computer screen. That's funny. I've never noticed that before. Might distract me a little bit. But I'm glad to see that's an option. I wonder if they're very accurate. Looking Closely Around the Pond. This is by Frank Safrini, and kids can press. Look very closely. What do you see? Seashells? Butterfly wings? What could it be? Any guesses here? It's a box turtle. There we go. And I'll read a bit about each creature. Box turtles are shy. They creep slowly around the pond, eating snails, mushrooms, and small berries. Look very closely. What do you see? Mars? Jupiter? What could it be? Any guesses here? I don't know. Oh, it's a shabunkin. Shabunkins are members of the goldfish family. They originally came from Asia. Now they decorate people's ponds around the world. You guys know anybody with pond with fish in it. I know my grandma and grandpa have, I know my grandma and grandpa have a pond with fish. Look very closely. What do you see? Swirls of paint? A snowy day? What could it be? What do you think? Looks like a bit of feather texture to me. I'm just guessing. Oh, it's a mallard duck. The mallard duck is easy to spot. As with most birds, the male or drake is more colorful than the female or hen. Drake mallards sport emerald green feathers on their head. Wow, pretty cool. Look very closely. What do you see? A leaf? A net? What could it be? Ooh, what do you think that is? I think I have a good guess, but I'll let you think about it. It's a dragonfly. For millions of years, dragonflies have roamed the earth. They were around even before the dinosaurs. Dragonflies begin their lives underwater as nymphs. When a nymph is fully grown, it climbs out of the water. Wow. That is very cool. I didn't know dragonflies had been around for so long. Look very closely. What do you see? Worms? Matchsticks? What could it be? Any guesses here? Let's see. It's a water lily. Wow, that's beautiful. Water lilies float on the surface of the pond. Their waxy flowers are surrounded by large, round leaves. Water lilies bloom in many different colors, such as pink, white, and yellow. These sweet-smelling flowers open up in the morning and close at night. You know that there are flowers that just float on the surface of a pond? That's so cool. On the cover, we've got another water lily. This is the white version. Look very closely. What do you see? A night sky? An autumn leaf? What could it be? Kind of looks like an eyeball right there. What do you think? Let's see. It's a tadpole. Oh yeah, look, there's eyeballs. Very cool. Frogs, toads, and salamanders begin their lives as tadpoles. These animals are amphibians, which means they spend time in the water and on land. When tadpoles live in water, they have gills like fish. They can breathe underwater. They eat algae and underwater plants. That is pretty cool. Amphibians are quite unique. Look very closely. What do you see? A hot dog? A chocolate bar? What could it be? Would you find a hot dog or a chocolate bar in the pond? I hope not, but who knows? Let's see what it is. It's a common cattail. Cattails grow in groups along the edges of the pond. They can reach up to 3 meters or 10 feet high. That's tall enough to hide a moose. Wow, so that's taller than my ceiling. My ceilings in my house, I think, are 8 feet, so they can grow even taller than the ceiling. That's amazing. Have you guys seen these around yet? I think I usually see them coming up in the spring. I guess they kind of stand there all winter because they're dead in the winter, so maybe you still see them all winter, I don't know. Look very closely. What do you see? A black snake? A river of ink? What could it be? Ooh, that's an interesting pattern. What do we think that is? It's a tiger salamander. Tiger salamanders start life as tadpoles. After they leave the pond, tiger salamanders dig and live in burrows, only coming out at night. They use their sticky tongues to catch insects and worms to eat. Just like we see frogs with their long tongues snapping out to grab bugs. Salamanders have sticky tongues like that too. That is cool, and these grow up as tadpoles like we learned from before. Here's the tadpole, so this is what the salamander starts out as when it's a baby. Alright, here we go. Look very closely. What do you see? A warty toad? Broccoli? What could it be? Ooh, interesting. Let's see. It's green algae. Algae have grown on Earth for over 400 million years. Most plants that live in the water belong to the algae family. Some algae have funny names like beard, fuzz, and smear algae. Seaweed is a form of algae. Or maybe some people say algae, I don't know. I say algae. Oh, I don't know if that's correct. Wow, look at that pond. That must be early in the morning. We've got the mist out. Looks beautiful. The end. So this says that the author, Frank, is an educator and an avid nature photographer. That is very cool. Hope you guys liked that one. We are going to get started on our experiment now. So here are the things I have. Oh good, we've got some comments. They weren't showing up on my computer for some reason. Olivia says, we saw a mallard duck on top of our neighbor's car yesterday. That's funny. And Patrick says, hello. Hello everybody, glad you're here. So for our experiment, you can either do this at home with me or you can just watch me as I do this. Now I've got my supplies here ready. You'll need a deep dish. The experiment said that they put about 2 centimeters of milk in it, so hopefully you have a deep dish or a shallow bowl, something like this, or a pie pan would work well. I've got my milk here. Hopefully I've got enough. I've got my food coloring. I'll need green and blue for our world, and I'll probably use red for the pollution that we're doing. And then I've got a little bit of dish soap here and Q-tips so I can drop the dish soap in there. I'm just gonna squeeze my dish soap in this paper to drop it in. So let me stick this up here. Let's see if I can get this to work here. There we go. Technical difficulties. Is it gonna stay? It's kind of balanced. Oh, I don't know. Struggles. Okay, there we go. That should stay. So sorry, it's gonna be a little sideways and weird, but I'll try my best to stay in the screen here. And while I'm at it, I'm going to see if I can get comments back on here. I don't know. That's okay. I'll read your comments from the phone as I see them. Okay, so we're going to pour our milk into the container that we have. Ooh, look at that. Didn't even spill any. Good for me. Okay, so I'd say that's about 2 centimeters deep. Next, we are going to add our color. So I've got just some food coloring here. You can use whatever kind of food coloring you have at home. Now, our goal here, this is kind of just a cool experiment, and I'll talk a bit about it as we're watching it, but the fat that's in the milk reacts with the dish soap, the soapy texture, and I'll read off the website a bit more details of the actual science behind it, but it's going to react and the color is going to spread out. So hopefully we can make this look a bit like our Earth, because our theme is Earth Day. Ooh, there, our color's floating right on top. That's perfect. So I've got green for my land on the earth, and I've got blue for the water on my earth. This already looks kind of cool because the color is floating on top of the milk. One more there maybe. Okay, so that looks pretty cool. If you're following along, I'll let you get caught up. So on my instructions, I'm following a blog post from Steam Powered Family, which I linked in the event description for Lil Explorers. So we poured our milk into the dish, about 2 centimeters deep. They used a variety of milks to see how different ones would react. They used cream and different things as well. I'm just using 2% milk. But they say you should be able to use whatever's in the fridge. Let it settle for a moment and then scatter some drops of food coloring. I didn't really let my milk settle, did I? But I'm letting it settle now. Hopefully that's okay. Scatter some drops of food coloring, and they are kind of meshing together, so that's interesting. And then we'll use a Q-tip to add a drop of dish soap in the center and see what happens. And so we'll let that play out for a little bit, and then we will add our red drop of food coloring, which will be our pollution for this experiment. So it says their question for their science experiment was, how does the fat content of milk affect magic milk experiment results? So they did some research, and their hypothesis, their prediction, was that a higher fat content equals slower movement in the colors. So we will find out if that's, well, we're only using one type of milk, but spoiler, I believe they found out that that was true. So hopefully, because we're only using 2% versus a cream, it should react in a pretty quick way. Okay, I think we'll get our dish soap in there. So I'm just putting some in here so I can scoop up a good amount with my Q-tip and then drop it in. Woohoo, look at that. Did you guys see that? That is cool. All of the color just spread right to the edges, and now it's kind of billowing out the center. I'll see if I can give you a close-up. But that reacted really fast because I guess our fat content is lower in this 2% milk instead of a cream. Now it looks like the color is slowly coming in from the edges. That looks cool. And I can see that little spot there is doing some different things. It's moving a little bit. That is very cool. Okay, so as I hold this on screen here for you, I will find out a little bit more. So let's see. I'm just scrolling through the website there and seeing what it says. Okay. Ooh, I wasn't watching my experiment, but now that's looking even cooler. Look at the weird designs coming in from the edges. Very interesting. So basically this is all about surface tension. Liquids have something called surface tension. So water, milk, and cream are made up of molecules that have positive and negative charges. And just like magnets, these charges allow them to attract or repel other molecules. And when the milk is by itself, the molecules are surrounded by the same type of molecules, which makes it balanced. And then when we expose it to the dish soap, which breaks the surface tension, that's when the reaction happens. So because dish soap is made of mostly surfactants, that's what breaks those fat molecules and repels the water. So because our food coloring is water-based, the surface tension of the milk repels the water. So this is looking even more like Earth. This is very interesting. So I think I will put the camera back up here and we will drop some pollution into our Earth and see what it does. Now, I'm not sure if this is still going to have a reaction from the dish soap we put in before. I think we'll have to add some more dish soap to see what happens. So we'll put a drop right in the middle. And yeah, I think we'll have to add a little more dish soap. So I'll take a scoop here, enough to make a drop. Nothing happened. Oh, it's slowly moving. It's very slowly moving. That's funny. I wonder if it's because the surface tension was already broken that it's not having the same sort of effect. Trying to get another drop in there. There's another drop. So this is very interesting because it is now repelling out from where the drop was made, and it's going very slowly this time. So interesting. Kind of looks like a target on our bullseye. That's very cool. Okay, I think I will let this sit here for a little bit and we will get back to our next story. There we go. Oh, I figured out how to get comments back up there. Okay, sorry, I'm very distracted by the feed today because it's been showing closed captions and it's been not showing the comments, so I was trying to get it fixed, but I think I've got it now. All right, I'm just fixing my stand so that I can get this back up there. There we go. Make sure you're straight. There we go. Okay, so I'll give you another peek at the experiment after we read our next story. But for our next one, we've got a Curious George book. Curious George Plants a Tree. And this is by Margaret and Harriet, I believe. The barcode's covering it, but I think that's, H.A. Rays. Margaret and H.A. Rays, not Harriet. Written by Monica Perez, illustrated in the style of H.A. Ray by Anna Gross-Nicolheinz. Who has read a Curious George book before? Let me know what you think of Curious George. Okay. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today was a good day to be curious. The man with the yellow hat was taking George to the Science Museum. The museum was one of George's favorite places. There was always something new to see and interesting to learn. Have you guys been to the Science Museum before? We have the Telespark Science Center in Calgary, and that's really cool. There's always fun stuff going on there. Often there was a special exhibit. George wanted to know what it was today, but first he had to make his favorite museum stops. The Rocket Room, the Mirror Maze, and the Butterfly Space. Wow, that's a fun museum. Finally, George and his friend made it to the special exhibits room. The sign read, "How you can take care of our planet." George learned many things. How all people, animals, plants, air, and water on the planet make up the environment. How trees help keep the air clean, and how people can help protect the environment from pollution and too much trash. I didn't really talk about the detail in my experiment, but the red was supposed to be pollution spreading throughout the world, so it's a little bit dark, but yeah, that was my experiment, and it's looking very interesting right now. I see Olivia says, our favorite Curious George book is when he visits a chocolate factory. Oh, that's cool. I haven't actually read very many Curious George books. George had a great time and didn't get into any of his usual mischief. Good for George. And as he and his friends were leaving, they bumped into the museum director. Uh-oh. Looks like George is up to a little bit of mischief, isn't he? He stole the yellow hat and ran right into the director. Oh no. Dr. Lee looked happy to see him. "How is my best monkey visitor?" Dr. Lee asked George. "I'm so glad I ran into you. I wanted to tell you that we're having a Green Day rally tomorrow at the park." George was curious. Whatever a rally was, he was sure that the park was a good place to do it. "We're going to plant a truckload of trees and collect used paper for recycling," Dr. Lee explained. "We didn't have much time to advertise, but we need lots of volunteers. How would you like to help out?" There was nothing that George liked better than to help. "What a great idea," the man agreed. "We'll be there." See their truckload of trees that they're going to plant? That's awesome. That night, George was ready to do his part for the recycling drive. He gathered every newspaper in the house. He stacked old mail on top of the papers. He piled empty cardboard boxes and food cartons on top of that. What a heap! What more could he add? George scratched his head. Then he took several books off his bedroom shelf. Uh-oh, what's he doing with his books? Just as George was about to add them to his recycling pile, someone lifted the books out of his hand. "Not so fast, George," the man said. "These books are made of paper, all right, but you can read and enjoy them many times. And when you're done, you can donate them to other kids or your library. Reusing is just as important as recycling." That's right, very important. And our library loves getting donations. We love either adding them to our collection or adding them to our used book sale to raise money for the library. The next morning, George and his friend set out for the park with their wagon of neatly stacked paper. Suddenly, the man stopped and said, "I forgot my gardening gloves. Go on without me, George. I'll be there soon." As George walked down the street, he spotted several newspapers lying about on his neighbor's front stoops. George had an idea. He had lots of room in his wagon. He could recycle all those newspapers. Oh no, is George stealing all their daily newspapers that just got delivered? I think he is. Look, there he is gathering up the unread newspapers. And the newspapers were not the only things he could recycle. He noticed a stack of paper cups sitting on a table under a tree. They went into the wagon too. So did a pile of magazines. Oh no, he's stealing the new magazines and the brand new cups. And a heap of papers someone left on the sidewalk. Uh-oh, this says files. It's someone's important documents. Oh no, George. Oh no. George was happy with his great load. At the park he found Dr. Lee already hard at work. "Good morning, George," Dr. Lee said. "I'm so glad you came and brought all your friends. We need lots of help to get the job done." Look at all his friends. Do you think those are his friends or just the people chasing him because he took all their stuff? George turned around. He was surprised to see so many faces, but they did not look very helpful. They looked angry. Uh-oh, he's hiding behind her now. The man with the yellow hat arrived just in time. He explained to their neighbors that George was gathering paper for a good cause. They were no longer mad. They even stayed to help plant the trees. Oh, that's good. They got their stuff back, and George recruited a bunch of help. That's awesome. George, you saved our green day, Dr. Lee said with gratitude. These trees will provide fresher air, and each summer we'll have more shade, which means we'll use less water to keep the grass green. Thank you. Being a monkey, George had known all along how important trees were. That's true, right? Monkeys love their trees. There's George up in his newly planted tree. That's a very fun book. Okay, I'll give you an update on our pollution experiment here. We've got our red pollution spreading all throughout the earth. So that's why it's so important, right, to clean up all the pollution that we can while we have the chance before it spreads, right? So I'm just going to take my Q-tip. I think this is done moving for now. I'm gonna swirl it and see what happens. That's fun. Did you let me know if you guys did this at home or if you just enjoyed watching mine, and if you made any modifications. Did you use a different kind of milk? I used 2%. Maybe you had 1% or skim or whole milk. Let me know what you used if you did this at home. I'm just having fun swirling it. That looks pretty cool. I wish you were all here to see it because it's quite fun. Wow, it's mixing up. This is also a lesson in color mixing because when we mix blue and red, we get purple, and I see lots of purples in there. Again, I have my green blinds up here with some poster board trying to block some of the bright morning light, so that's why my whole thing looks a little green tinged, but yeah, that's what that looks like. So I will sign off here. Again, let me know if you did this experiment. Let me know how it went for you by commenting below. And I hope you're having an awesome week. I hope you enjoyed your Earth Day. Let me know if you did anything special, like took out your recycling for Earth Day. I took out all our recycling yesterday and put our bottles in the garage. Didn't go into the bottle depot, but that would be a good Earth Day activity if it wasn't if we weren't supposed to be isolating. But yeah, let me know in the comments how it went, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather. I'm getting my garden not planted outside, but I've been growing some seeds inside, so maybe I'll give you a peek at those next week. Our theme for next week is going to be Australian animals, so I can incorporate plants somehow in that, I think. Just an excuse to share my plants. But yeah, have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you're all staying safe. Don't forget to join Carolyn on Monday morning for Baby Goose Rhyme Time if you've got a young one, and on Tuesday she's doing some extra language learning programs, so those are really great for kids and adults as well. And Wednesday is Nighttime Tales, Thursday is Carolyn's Budding Bookworm, and then Friday, like we are doing now, is Lil Explorers. So make sure you check out our Facebook page with all of our events, or check out our website, they're all on there as well. And thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.